So Pokemon investors just bought out Obsidian Flames booster boxes and also Paradox Rift booster boxes. Now, there were no insane price jumps, but they did move up in price, and they both happened on the same day. So I believe this was sort of calculated, and I'm going to explain sort of my theory on why these two specifically were bought out. Because if you look at the rest of the booster boxes in the Scarlet and Violet era, on this same day that both of these were bought out, where there was an increased sales volume, no other box did the same thing. So I'll explain my sort of theory why this is happening to these two boxes. So let's just first look at the prices of the Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift booster boxes. Then I'll explain my sort of thought process and my theory why this has happened. So as you can see right now, lowest listed on TCG Player for an Obsidian Flames booster box is around $285. If you look at recent sales, you can see two just sold for $290. So this is almost a $300 booster box. And you can see just a few days ago, 20 boxes sold, which isn't an insane amount compared to some other boxes we've seen recently, like Destined Rivals is selling about 20 a day at its price point. But if you look comparatively to every other day in the past month, it's a huge increase in sales. And you can look on the supply on the market, this seemingly could hit possibly 300 pretty soon, because basically right here, after like 7 boxes sell, it is basically at $300, and one or just a few just sold for $290. So this is almost a $300 booster box. Now, if you go on eBay, there's a few listings for a bit cheaper. There's one here I found for $270, one here for $265. So you're able to find them for a little bit cheaper on eBay. I found one here for $260. So if you're looking to pick any of these up, it looks like this person just straight up bought this from a Pokemon Center vending machine. So that's interesting. But you can buy them for a bit cheaper on eBay. You can save about $40 to $50 if you buy on eBay. So if you are looking to pick Obsidian Flames booster boxes up, you can see on eBay they are actually cheaper. Now, if you want to buy a case of Obsidian Flames booster boxes, you're not really paying much for premium. If you do the math, you're like around 280 booster box times 6, around there 285. It's pretty much this price. You're not really paying a premium. So if you want to get a sealed case now, you don't really have to pay a premium. So if that's something that you're looking to do, you can do that, and you don't really have to pay extra, which is nice. So if you want a booster box case, you can get one for around $1,600 to $1,700. Now on eBay, I was not really able to find any buy now listings. They're all on bid, on auction. One here, there's one here, there's a couple here, there's one here that's about to end. So yeah, I couldn't find any buy now really listings. I guess there's one here from this is from the UK though. So yeah, they're all at bids, but on TCG Player it's $1,680. That's basically no case premium. Now next here, Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift, you can see same day, just a few days ago, 35 boxes sold. And you can see right now the price is $250, so it jumped up a little bit. You can see there was no major movements in prices for both of these booster boxes, Obsidian Flames or Paradox Rift. They didn't jump like crazy amounts, but they did move up to the next price point. Paradox Rift is now $250, which is more expensive than Temporal Forces now at this point. But like I said, I'm going to explain why I believe this is happening. So you can see they're at $250. It's obviously a huge increase in sales compared to any other day in the past month. Now, if you look at the supply on the market, there seemingly is a decent amount at $250, so maybe it might stay here for a little bit of time. Now, here on eBay, you can buy them for a little bit cheaper than $250. There's a listing here for like $240, listing here for low $240s. So you can buy them for a little bit cheaper on eBay, maybe save like $10. Now, if you go on TCG Player and search up cases, you can buy them for about $1,500. So basically, same thing as the Obsidian Flames booster box case, basically zero premium. And if you go on eBay, I found this case for like $50 cheaper than TCG Player, but basically they're $1,500 as well on eBay. Now, to go to my theory of why I believe this has happened to specifically Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift, is because of the set rotation that is going to be happening next year. I believe it's in April or something like that. I believe this time around it's the G lettering that is going to be rotated out. Now, I honestly don't know much about or anything at all about the competitive scene, but I do know every year they like rotate sets out. And I believe last year was F. This year I believe is G, and I believe G includes Scarlet and Violet base, all the way up to, I believe, Paldean Fates. I think Paldean Fates is part of G, but I have heard some people say Paradox Rift. But that still, whatever, if it ends at Paldean Fates or Paradox Rift, it still would make sense of why my theory is the way it is. But those sets are supposedly supposed to be rotating out next year. So what is that, like 6-7 months from now? About 7 months, I think. So those sets are going to be rotated out. Now, why is this significant? Well, based on history, once sets usually get rotated out, Pokemon tends to not really reprint the products. Like, you might see packs still showing up in collection boxes and other products, but you generally won't see like reprints, like maybe for booster boxes and stuff. Usually when a set is rotated out, because there would be no need for Pokemon to print it for the game, so they usually don't reprint it. So usually that's when prices, you start to see skyrocket after sets go out of rotation, because then there's no sort of, I guess, fear of reprints after a set is rotated out, because at least in history, Pokemon doesn't really reprint after a set is rotated out. And Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift, they're part of the G sort of rotation, so those are part of that rotating out, which means that, you know, next year, early next year, they're going to not get reprint anymore after that. Now, why hasn't this happened to some other sets? For example, Scarlet and Violet base. Well, if you really think about it, Scarlet and Violet base, yeah, it's, you know, older than, you know, Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift. It could be considered maybe a safer buy in the way that it's already gotten reprinted. It's the base set that possibly maybe sometime in the near future we see you know, Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift getting reprinted. That's possible. So this could be a safer buy than those, you could say, because it's literally the base set. Okay, Windows security, but you know, this set isn't as, you know, good, I would say. And, you know, I think generally people would say maybe as Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift, especially. Obsidian Flames maybe could be argued, but it is a Charizard set. Scarlet and Violet, I do think it's a very good base set, but it doesn't have much value. I mean, the same with Obsidian, but it doesn't have much of an appeal being a base set. And Obsidian Flames has a Charizard, Paradox Rift has the Groudon. So this is just not as sought after of a set, and therefore you can see here in the same day, literally nothing sold. Or I think it was this day, but not as many sold as those other two sets or booster boxes, because I just believe the value and the price it's at $230. That was basically what Paradox Rift was at. Obsidian Flames was like $15 more. So I think just people didn't go for a Scarlet and Violet base because it wasn't as appealing at the price point. Now, why didn't this really happen to Paldea Evolved? Well, Paldea Evolved at this point is almost $400. It could still be argued the same thing, that it's a good set. Maybe there's people could see value in it because Paldea Evolved seemingly is one of the top main sets, but it didn't happen. I just think it might be the price point. But you know, I think people saw value in Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift at their price point. Obsidian Flames was about $250 and Paradox Rift was around $220. I think people saw value in those two sets, and it's going to get rotated out, so people just started buying them, and it, you know, moved the price point up to that next point. Now, why didn't this happen at Temporal Forces? Well, this is part of the, you know, next rotation, so it's not going to be next year, it's the one after. So after G, I believe, is H, so this is part of like the H rotation, which is not getting rotated out, which means that even next year, after the, you know, F rotation, or no, the G rotation goes out, H is still, you know, part of the, you know, competitive play, and H can still get reprinted, but G won't. So Temporal Forces in that way has not gotten bought out like Paradox or Obsidian, because it still can get printed, because it will still be in competitive play, I think all throughout next year and early 2027, and that's why you haven't seen that happening to Temporal, because I do truly believe if this was part of the G rotation, it probably would have seen the same thing as Paradox and Obsidian, because they were basically the same price as Paradox Rift. And Temporal, I believe, is pretty much on par, a bit better than Paradox Rift in my opinion, but they are somewhat similarly priced, but you did not see that large amount of sales volume that one day. So just want to show you guys this, that a few boxes have been sort of bought out in a way. No crazy price movements, but just wanted to explain why this has probably happened. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.